Where did the good times go? Hello everyone, Mr. Daydream here, and welcome to ChainSauce Extra. Now, you may find this rather hard to believe, but I'm not normal. Yeah, crazy, right? Over the years, I have gradually been raised on weird, seasoned by random, and sucker punched by the freak show known as reality. Multiple times, as a matter of fact. And all of this is thanks to YouTube, a wondrous place where people gather to witness creativity, comedy, and captivating surprises. As well as watching some random guy tell us why the Star Wars sequel trilogy is terrible for the 18 billionth time. But I have to be honest, as much as I love YouTube, there was a point where I hardly used it, and it was around 2012 or so. This was when gaming videos began taking over absolutely everything, and I mean everything. You had people such as PewDiePie, Markiplier, and Jacksepticeye that really popularized the format. Now, gaming videos have been around since the early days, believe it or not, but they were mostly in the form of Let's Plays. You see footage of the game provided with commentary. There were no such thing as face cams, and if there were, they were most likely in potato quality. Much like everything else at that time. So while Let's Plays have been around for a long time, they weren't high in demand. Back then, people were more into content that had more effort put into them. Now, I'm not saying that gaming videos don't have effort, but there is a clear difference between a gaming video and a comedy video. YouTubers such as Smosh and Nigahiga were huge at the time. In fact, there have been instances where they were subsequently the most subscribed channels on the entire platform. Yeah. I have to be honest, but I really do miss the competition. Nowadays, it's practically impossible to achieve such a milestone. What with the number of it being over 100 million subs or something? I couldn't even get 1,000 in 5 years. But anyways, when it comes to comedy videos, they weren't as simple as capturing game footage. It's a little more complicated than that. They would have a script, multiple shots, different angles, numerous props, actors, and all kinds of things. It was basically a short film. While they were ambitious projects, it's not like it was impossible to do the things they did, because a lot of them were shot in everyday areas, such as a bedroom, a backyard, or even their neighborhood. If you have the skills and determination, you could achieve the same level of success as they did. After all, they're just regular people with cameras and ideas, and sometimes that's all you need. However, it wasn't until horror games such as Slender and Amnesia that really put gaming videos back on the map. Only this time, we get to bear witness to the mugs of these frightened gamers. And I have to admit, there was something oddly amusing about seeing a bunch of people get increasingly afraid, to the point to where they become full-blown scaredy cats. But even so, to me, the novelty wore off pretty quickly in a matter of months, mostly because of how many times can you get scared by the same game over and over again? Like, you should be expecting the unexpected by this point. Not only that, but there have been a number of instances where these people are being overly dramatic on purpose. Thus, a lot of these over-the-top reactions are no longer genuine, and that they're deliberately staged just for more views. But then at some point after this barrage of spook-filled experiences, gaming videos began to shift from being exclusively horror to just about anything else, such as Minecraft and Happy Wheels. Like, seriously, it was all over the place. It's nuts! It was after this onslaught of gaming videos that I honestly grew tired of this platform. I'm not a huge fan of watching other people play video games. And I know that some of you might say something like, well, couldn't you say the same thing about sports? Ha! Joke's on you. I don't even watch sports. But even with that said, I wasn't critical to anyone who genuinely enjoyed these videos. If it makes them happy, then it's all good. It's not like they were harmful or anything like that. At this point in time, I just didn't really care about YouTube anymore. It just ended up becoming a drab corporate machine that churns out repetitive and uninspired gaming content. I honestly believe that creativity was officially dead on this platform. That's how bad it was. It wasn't until 2015 or so that I suddenly discovered something that was completely missing from YouTube for the past few years or so. Effort! I was really happy to see that there were people who went above and beyond to create content that didn't solely involve sitting through a video game the entire time. It was just like the old days. There are a number of these channels, but I'm gonna go through 3 of my personal favorites. First is Filthy Frank, a guy who gets involved in all kinds of random and bizarre shenanigans. I mean, where else can you see a video where a bunch of guys are having a crayfish race in the middle of the park, getting hijacked by albino rats, and then a black guy getting beat up by a midget wielding broccoli who then later gets chased down by a drone? Man, that sentence was a wild ride from start to finish. As you can see, this is a man of fine culture. Not to mention, he also has the soothing voice of a chainsaw.
I like wearing things that make me look non-suspicious, because I mean, no cop is gonna look at this and be like, wow, that's suspicious.
For the second channel, there's iDubbbz, a bespectacled weirdo who sometimes forgets how reality functions. He unboxes all kinds of surprise boxes from hell and occasionally needs to remind the world who's in charge. I was actually a huge fan of his short-lived series, What's in the Box. It's filled to the brim of surprises and destructive randomness that I relish with pure delight. It's such a shame that it didn't last long, but maybe it's because there was too much for this world to handle. For the third channel, there's Cow Chop, a group of misfits that are out of control and have no regard to what they break or who they break. When it comes to content, there's a large variety. Whether it's playing video games, board games, trying out gadgets and toys, going on all kinds of adventures, as well as abusing the heck out of Trevor. What I absolutely love about these channels is the surprise factor. You have no idea what's going to happen, but whatever it is, you know it's got to be good. I have to be honest, I always wanted my content to be more chaotic. Now, I don't mean as in like burning my place to the ground or anything like that. No. Not yet, at least. No, what I'm talking about is being able to break and destroy things. Like How To Basic, for example. He gets to do this kind of stuff on a daily basis. That must be therapeutic as heck. But the thing is, if you're living in an apartment, your parents' house, or the dumpster behind your local Applebee's, you can't really get destructive to your heart's content. Hence, why the chaotic things I do in my videos are rather tame compared to the things these guys have done.
Is it working? Oh, Jesus Christ!
Now, these videos are beloved by many. They're insanely entertaining, have a lot of potential for memes, and are done purely out of chaotic fun that many of us are not brave enough to muster ourselves. But we have these brave heroes to do them for us, and we love them for that. But do you know who doesn't like this type of content? Take a wild guess. That's right, the Big Red Cheese. Unfortunately, YouTube isn't very fond of these channels. They'll still let them be on their platform, sure, but it's pretty clear that they don't want them to represent their overall image. Now, when it comes to incredibly crude and most unorthodox videos, they are allowed on the platform, but they're not heavily rewarded. If anything, most of them are instantly demonetized the second they're uploaded. So if you want to make videos such as these, you have to either do it as a hobby or use a membership program such as Patreon. It also doesn't help that YouTube constantly updates its policies and guidelines. There were so many things you could do back then that you can no longer do today. For example, you can no longer swear, you can't display graphic body injury, you can't show people partake in dangerous activities, and all that other fun stuff that makes this ultimate bore known as reality somewhat endearing. But that's not the only issue. Videos that were uploaded before these updated guidelines were implemented are still not safe, even though they were uploaded during the time when it was allowed to do these things. It's apparently the uploader's fault for not knowing that these elements and themes would be unacceptable in the unforeseen future. Bleh. Give me a break. For example, Filthy Frank has the infamous cake trilogy where he and his friends make the most disgusting cakes known to man. All 3 videos have been removed for containing graphic imagery. iDubbbz' content comp on Leafy contained a few segments where he mocked his lack of having a chin. It has now been removed for being portrayed as bullying on someone's appearance that, they have no control over. Cowchop made a video where they were unboxing and trying out products from Amazon. It contained a scene where Alex attempted to eat a Tide Pod. And of course, because of that, it has now been removed for potentially encouraging minors to make stupid decisions. Like paying for YouTube Premium, for example. See, that's the biggest problem with the ever-evolving community guidelines. You can never tell if a video uploaded today will forever be immune to the future and whatever advanced politically correctness they heavily shove into the throats of society. So because this type of content is no longer rewarded, many just don't see the incentive to make them anymore. They require much more work and effort compared to a gaming video, and you also have to sacrifice whatever sanity you have left. All for something that may not pay off in terms of revenue. So because of that, people would much rather stick to something safe like streaming a video game, hosting a podcast, or shaming their children because they didn't do so well in their report card. Yeah, that's a thing, I'm not kidding. All I can say is, I'm thankful I grew up in the 90s. I already get plenty of shame from my parents. I don't need thousands of online strangers to do the same. I always have respect for those who continue to strive for content, even if their efforts don't reward them as much as it should. But unfortunately, many of these legends slowly deviated themselves away from edgy meme culture. Joji no longer makes Filthy Frank videos and instead makes music videos where he's constantly depressed for some reason. I guess he never got over that time his drone girlfriend cheated on him. iDubbbz stopped making videos where he's destructively random and now makes content that's far more tame compared to his original videos. Cowchop eventually disbanded due to a number of issues of living in LA. Man, nothing good ever comes out of that place, huh? It is a shame, but it is understandable when you're trying to survive on a platform that no longer favors you anymore. It's a lot like working at a miserable minimum wage job where all your hard work, contribution, and devotion is largely ignored by the higher-ups. At that point, quitting and trying out something new and different becomes much more enticing because ultimately, you gotta do what's best for yourself. You deserve to be happy. Don't ever let some soulless conglomerate tell you otherwise. Though I still can't help but feel upset that we don't get to see this type of content that much these days. I mean, as incredibly crude as these videos were, many people seem to really enjoy them. Heck, every now and then I still hear people quote the legendary line of, "Hey boss." These videos really made me excited to see what people can create on this platform. I always look forward to see what wacky shenanigans they get themselves into. But for now, it seems as though YouTube has reverted itself back into being an uninspired gaming content machine. Especially now with all this VTuber garbage. That's a video for another time. Not that there's anything wrong with this stuff, but every now and then I do crave for something crazy. So that's it for now. I really do miss the old days. Hopefully this stupid show can still retain some of that weird magic we all strangely enjoyed. Who knows? Only time will tell. So thank you very much for watching this episode of ChainSauce Extra. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time. Take care, and have a nice day. Of course they have to be parked right close to me. What the heck are they doing out there?